This
All
is a
right.
arm with and the hand works.
That's fantastic.
The elbow, and this is all atomic filament. This is out of your hot end, and it's come out really, really well.
Wow.
We have silicone fingertips, and we have orthodontic band hinges on here. And this is actually 80-pound Spectra fishing leader, which actuates everything.
Hi, Eric. How's it going?
It's going very well, Dan. Thank you.
Awesome. It's great to meet you. And some of my team has had the chance to talk to you, but it's my first time getting a chat with you, so I'm really pumped to make your acquaintance.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm having a great day here myself. Our first long-distance video call measured prosthetic has arrived and fits like a charm. And we just
That's awesome.
made a year-old girl's week for life in Colombia. She said this was her dream.
That's fantastic. Well, I guess that is a great segue into tell me about what you do.
Well, so we live on a 46-foot sailboat, and we were actually sailing to Vanuatu to work with people I've been in contact with a long time. We were going to be transporting doctor and nurse teams into some of the most remote islands in the South Pacific. And
so you were specifically trying to get medical care teams from the U.S. to really remote areas, essentially.
They're teams from all over. They're Australia, New Zealand, America, all over the place.
Very cool.
Those are some of those areas we'll only see outsiders maybe once or twice a year. And there's a lot of health problems. Well, we landed in Guatemala. COVID said not going any further. Doors are all closed, still closed. This was I guess about 7 months ago. And so we've been involved in a lot of humanitarian relief stuff. And we have a small Christian-based nonprofit that does that. And we saw a need, and we felt like that was an open door. And I taught myself 3D printing. And here we are.
On a boat in Guatemala, you taught yourself 3D printing.
Yes.
That's awesome.
As I know, I think we're the only boat-based prosthetic printing operation in the world at this point. It's tight.
I bet it is.
At this point, we've done something like 28 prosthetics in 5 months. The volume is picking up. We now have 2 machines, and may have a third on the way.
Awesome.
And for instance, I just did wants to learn Braille. She's blind. She was born blind. And so I just printed Braille teaching materials.
Wow, that's cool. So going beyond even the prosthetics applications into any other sort of felt needs that are of a physical nature, sounds like.
We also do, like for people with limited grip strength, we do so that they can hold spoon, knife, fork, pencil. We do children to adults, and this is probably a lifetime commitment for us in our retirement. Once you start a kid, they're going to outgrow it about every year as they grow. And you can't start somebody on this and then suddenly say, by the way, I'm leaving. Here.
See you later. Yeah.
So unless somebody comes along that can take over, we're not going anywhere. If somebody does take over, I'll do this again somewhere else.
So you mentioned retirement. So did you have a career in technology or engineering leading up to this, or?
Oh, I've had a crazy life. 8 years in the Air Force. Got out.
Service.
No problem. Got out, started building boats. Became a wooden boat shipwright. I was a journeyman level wooden boat shipwright, and then traveled around. We lived on a sailboat and traveled around to jobs. And then we bought a boatyard for a few years and sold that. And then I went into business where we were producing mostly radio studio furniture production center. And then we became CNC based and got into producing plastic and wooden parts on a CNC machine. I've got over 1 million parts we produced off of that.
Wow, that's a lot of parts.
Then I went back to woodwork for a little while, and then we're retired in here.
So you say is your wife traveling with you? You've got a team, or?
Yes, we've been married 40 years.
40 years, that's amazing.
I also have a service dog with me. She's wandering around inside the boat here somewhere. So, yeah, it's a different existence, so to speak.
Yeah. Does the dog like the boat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She was 1.5 years old when we got her, and that's all she's ever known. And she's third in the series of boat dogs who are full-time boat dogs.
That's cool. Yeah. So tell me about what was the problem that you were facing, with your 3D printer, and just kind of talk me through the issue, through the problem.
Yeah, our initial printer was a Prusa Mark III S Plus. Great little workhorse, but I had arm parts for adults that it wouldn't fit on the print. So somebody donated a Race 3D E2 to us.
That's great.
Which would print PLA pretty well, but it's so hot here that we use PETG.
So the PLA will actually deform or not hold the strength.
If you get left in a car in midsummer down here, it could be 120 degrees and then close the windows and add the sun.
Right. Wow. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah. We are on a river near the Caribbean Ocean and Caribbean Sea, and we are on the edge of the jungle. The place we're staying has no road access. Everything is by boat.
Oh, wow.
It's a long supply chain in here.
Okay.
So we got the E2 running. We had endless problems with PETG. Nobody seemed to have a good solution. And then I started talking to guys who run these, particularly guys who run them in print farms. And everybody said, oh, no. You've got to get a copperhead on this thing, or it's never going to do what you want it to do.
Right.
And so, we contacted you guys, and the rest is history, and it now prints like it's supposed to with PETG.
So you mentioned, material compatibility, and just improving that aspect. What other kind of changes have you seen after implementing the upgrade?
I can print faster.
Okay, great. That's good.
The old machine, or the old hot end on it, it just clogged like mad if you got it up much above 40 millimeters a second. I can print 60 now.
That's fantastic. It's a 50% improvement in speed. That's huge.
Yeah. And we have to use people here. I thought they'd want all kinds of bright colors and everything. No, beige.
Beige, interesting.
5 different colors for their prosthetic. Oh, yeah, the beige right there. And so the only people who have a color that really match what we do is atomic filament.
Interesting.
And just so happens atomic really prints well. It's a great filament for us to work with. But it was given the fits, and then like I said, I talked to these other commercial users, and they're all like, oh yeah, no, you want the copperhead, and are you using atomic filament? Yeah. And I'm like, yes, I am. They go, okay, well, that's the best one to use.
Awesome. So you found the right combo. That's great. Yeah. That's really great.
Yeah. The only difference I noticed was we had to tweak, of course, some of the extrusion rates.
Of course.
And line rates just to get it really dialed in.
Yeah.
And
with any kind of change like that, you're always going to have to do some tuning to kind of, you're changing the melt parameters essentially. So yeah.
So I'm tickled to death, and now I'm looking at my Prusa going, does that need a mosquito?
It does. It helps. It does help. I promise. That's awesome. So you mentioned nylon as well. So what's the application, or I guess first, where are you using your current atomic filament products? Like what is the ideal application there? And then where are you going to use nylon?
Can you hold 1 second? I'll show you.
Sure. All right. Okay. I'd love to see it.
This
is
a arm, width, and the hand works.
That's fantastic.
The elbow. And this is all atomic filament. This is out of your hot end. And it's come out really, really well.
Wow.
We have silicone fingertips. and we have orthodontic band hinges on here. And this is actually 80-pound Spectra fishing leader, which actuates everything. And
That's awesome.
the hands, because we also do a hand, is this same hand with a shorter cuff on it to grab onto the arm. And probably next 2 weeks, I'm going to do my first fingers.
Wow. That's amazing.
And that will be flex filament, some 98A, and it'll be the atomic for the rigid parts.
Wow.
So that'll be something that will be coming up very quickly.
Are you printing the silicone finger pads as well?
We actually get the Lee Tippy grips, and we have to import them.
Okay.
I've looked at it, and I've looked at making molds. Right now, I think it's a better use of our time and funds. They're not that expensive, and we just ship them down in bulk. Because I can get castable silicone within the country, but it's a lot of time and a little more space, and space is not something we have a lot of. We're looking at trying to develop an arm for above elbow loss.
How would you actuate that, or would that not have a actuatable hand?
You have a body harness.
Okay.
The actuating line is attached to the back of the harness, so that as they move the arm around, it will open and close the hand.
Gotcha. Okay.
They tend to restrict movement some, and talking to some guys who design these things, they're like, those are hard. They'll go, those are really hard to come up with a good answer for. But we do see some of that down here. And it's tough because there are some that you see you just can't address. It's not possible.
So are people coming to you and saying, hey, I mean, are they showing up at your dock basically and saying, I need this?
We have a local partner, and I think to do this effectively in the third world, you've got to have a local with you.
Sure.
That speaks the language, understands the culture. And she's a local, and her name is Rita. And so Rita is sort of our front person, and that people have learned that you go see Rita, and then they make an appointment, and we measure them up, and then we print. It takes about a week, and we can get them an assembled arm or a hand. And I did not realize how big the need for arms and hands were. Honestly, I was like, oh yeah, well, we'll take care of a few people here and there, and no, it's huge. Diabetes is a big problem here.
Really?
Motorcycle
Interesting.
accidents. Yeah, motorcycle accidents are huge. Industrial accidents, there are no OSHA running around down here. And sadly, like kids born with a physical defect, like an arm or a hand difference,
right?
It's really hard for them. They take brutal harassment from other kids.
Gotcha.
One young man we took care of, he was born, father came in, looked at him and goes, I don't want anything to do with a cripple, left, and they've never seen him again.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's awful.
And you wonder, does this make a difference? Oh boy, does it make a difference. He was my first recipient.
Wow.
And we fitted him, and when you met him, he always hid his stump in his pocket, and it would half hide his body up behind his new father, his wonderful man. And he was very shy, very retiring. And 6 months now, he just got his second one. He outgrew things. He's growing like the proverbial weed.
Yeah.
He is using a slingshot to get small, to help feed his family.
That's incredible.
He is a confident, outgoing young man. Just amazes me. Absolutely amazes me.
That's incredible.
And his mother is just so happy. She was like, I prayed for 12 years that we would find a solution. And we gave her the solution. And it's just to see the difference mentally as well as physically and emotionally is just amazing. It's just amazing. And then
it's amazing.
Some of the adults are really cool too. We got some cultural barriers.
Sure.
The Guatemalan people are incredibly resilient, and they have been through long, hard times. Civil War and everything else, and a lot of the villagers are not very trusting of outsiders because of
makes sense.
And so we've had one gentleman who was like, for 10 years I dreamed of getting a prosthetic arm, and he's from a family and a village that are not real thrilled with this idea. When I got it, and I got it on him, he goes, I've been dreaming how I'm going to use this.
Wow.
He reached over, picked up a glass, and drank from it
Immediately.
Just
wow.
Some of them do that. Some of them it takes a lot of work. Some of them, no, they just pick right. And I said, so, how are you going to use this? He goes, I'm going back to my village because I know several people who need these, and I'm going to put it in front of them, and I'm going to let them see how much it can change their life. And I'm like, yeah, ambassadors like him, yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah.
We've now gone as far away as Colombia.
Wow.
A young lady just got her hand today, and she
How are
said,
you shipping something like that to Colombia from your boat?
DHL at a lot of money. It's really expensive, but change somebody's life. What's it worth?
Yeah.
She said that this was an answer to a lifetime dream. She just got it today. And her big dream is at the end of the month is her birthday, and she wants to hold her bouquet of flowers in the procession she's going to be in the church, but she wants to hold them with both hands. So now she can.
That's amazing.
We just took care of a guy a year and a half ago. 3 men broke into his home in El Salvador. I don't know if they knew he was home or not, but they wanted to clean up his house. In the attack, he lost both lower arms, and they tried to decapitate him.
Oh my gosh.
With machetes, and he survived. His attitude is mind-blowing. He ought to go on a speaking tour. It's like he told me, he goes, I could sit down and give up, or I can just decide I'm going to have the best life I can have. And it's just amazing. Without his prosthetics, he drives a motorcycle, drives a car.
With 2 missing arms.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It makes you cringe, but
wow.
Edouard is a big, strong guy, and Edouard doesn't like to be told he can't do something. That's going to carry him a long ways.
Yeah.
We've fitted him. He's got 2 lower arm prosthetics now. He wanted shorter ones than normal because he's had to take the begging. It's the only way he could make any money. Now he said he's going into business weaving hammocks, and he wanted the shorter arms to handle the equipment better.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. You can customize to the patient, because everything is patient specific.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah. And we can't handle complicated cases. That's the world of the true prosthetics clinic, and there are some here, but the price is like a year's salary oftentimes. Yeah. For a lot of people, they just can't do it. So we do what we can. We do the best we can. And it's just, this technology is pretty amazing. It
is amazing. There's a difference between an emergent need, a disaster relief situation, versus meaning ongoing needs, where you really need to have long-term investment into relationships, right? That's what makes a difference long-term.
It isn't like this is a big outlay of money. A couple of printers, a few spools of filament every month, some bended parts, and you can be making a big difference.
So what are your plans moving forward? It sounds like you're planted in the spot where you're going to be for the foreseeable future. What do you want to see happen next? Let's say on the 3D printing side.
Well, we hope to expand at least one more printer, because I see the volume picking up. And there are prosthetic engineers working on 3D printable legs.
Is this through Enable? Is that
it's like Enable France.
Okay.
Has some guys working on it. I was also there's a university in Malaysia working on it. Malaysia's investing real heavily in printed prosthetics.
Interesting.
And
I had no idea Malaysia was making that kind of investment. That's pretty interesting.
It's a structural issue. a strength of materials issue. Of course, we'll have to, at that point, get into a good portable 3D scanner so that you can scan the stump and match a print to that.
Are you trying to get another E2, or what are you looking for?
No, probably it would be another Prusa at this point.
Another Prusa, just for size?
For size, they are a workhorse. They just run in. I've got over 2,000 hours on that first one without a hitch.
Wow, that's amazing.
And they handle all but one part that I make. And so the E2 is that part plus any work overflow I can put on. But there's been times that the Prusa has run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for weeks.
Wow, that's amazing.
So as cases pick up, we hope that we can speed up what our turnaround times are. I mean, now with the Copperhead on it, that I can do a lot more with the E2. And that's really going to help my turnaround.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Before
like we should get a Mosquito Magnum on your Prusa so you can increase the output on that one.
But I mean, literally the last forearm I did before I did your upgrade, it was a 16-hour print, and I had to sit there and monitor it because I had 6 clogs.
Oh my gosh!
To throw it away again.
Yeah.
And we threw away almost 2 spools of filament, which are pretty dear for us.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, trying to make that work. So now, not a problem. I don't have filament waste that I had before, and I don't have to stand there and monitor it because it doesn't clog anymore.
That's fantastic. So you're saying it was taking you 16 hours to do the job. What is the time now, do you think, on that same kind of job?
It's down to about 12.
12 hours. Wow.
Because I can speed
4 off or something. Yeah.
And I might possibly be able to push the speeds higher. That's just what I've been pushing for right now. Talking to the guys who run them commercially, they're saying, 50 to 60 millimeters a second is kind of the sweet spot, it seems like.
Sure.
And they're running your upgrades.
Okay.
I mean, there's one guy, I'm not sure how many he has. He has quite a few in a print farm. And he said, I gave up and I eventually put Copperheads in all of them.
Yeah.
And I went from sleepless nights and pulling my hair out to I just turn them on and let them run.
That's fantastic. That's a huge testimonial for us. We, one of the reasons I got into 3D printing as opposed to some other industry, I used to work in the medical device industry before I started this. And so, my desire going into the medical industry originally was to try and help people. We were specifically working in orthopedics, actually. And then I saw this as an opportunity, 3D printing as an opportunity to really leverage new technology in a lot of different places. And that seemed like a really exciting thing, because we get to help people all around the world, which is really, really cool. So stories like this, like yours, are literally why we're doing what we're doing. And it gets the team excited and pumped to be here in the office every day, doing some sort of the mundane stuff sometimes that is required to just move things forward. But it's stories like yours that get us inspired and excited to keep innovating, to keep bringing new products out, to keep making stuff that is more reliable and makes throughput faster. All that is part of, serving guys like you who are really making a difference at the end user, change people's lives. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me, where can people go to learn more about you and what you're doing and support the mission?
We're on Facebook.
Facebook.
It's Eric Lamoray is my personal page, and Island Mission Support, Inc. Shows what we're doing. Is you can contact me via Messenger. I can kick somebody who's interested where we get everything in the States. PayPal, we have a PayPal connection. We do bank transfers. Some people do bank transfers. We just started using a service called Wise.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Wise. It's great.
Yeah, it's used a lot down here. It's one of the ways you pay bills, actually, down here.
Really? Wow. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, hanging out with me and talking about what you're doing. I'm very excited to see it, and we definitely will be watching your page to see future developments and be sending some people your way once this thing goes live.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, and it's very good talking to you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, Eric.